Four Marx Brothers and Duck Soup. You know what? Directed by Leo McCarey. I think we're having like Recall Piece Theater week, because I would put this in Recall Piece Theater.
This is definitely Recall Piece Theater.
I mean, it's a comedy. It's silly and goofy in parts, but it's also super old. So that kind of helps.
Yeah.
In the equation, there's like an equation for qualifying for Recall Piece Theater, and age is a huge factor. Being in black and white helps.
Yep.
That's points for being in black and white.
Having an orchestra.
Having Margaret Dumont, having somebody who talks like this in it definitely helps.
I actually, it's been a while since I had watched this, but I busted out the a Marx Brothers joke from this. He's like, pick a card.
Pick a card. Oh, yeah. And a lot of great lines. Like, I was taking notes, and boomers, that whole generation were like huge Groucho fans and imitated Groucho. And it's like, after watching this, I want so bad to like just incorporate as much Groucho as possible. But it's like, oh no, because I thought that stuff was so corny when like Alan Alda would be on MASH and say, or Cotter. You know, it's like, oh, that's so cheap. Like it's like, oh, are we gonna subject another generation to this? I was loving, and yeah, the card thing was great.
I did it at work. I was like, pick a card. Okay, go ahead and keep it. I've got 51 more of them.
That's great. Did they laugh? Did it go
I don't
over?
think so.
No, they're like, what the
fuck is this guy?
Well, because it is like old man bullshit. So even though it's like, no, I'm too young to be doing this. Like my dad could do this, or my grandfather could do it, but like it's ironic because I'm too young to be doing it, and it's like, no, you're the exact right age to be doing this corny bullshit. It takes a minute to, like, you got the ducks in the credits, you got the ducks swimming in the soup, and you got all the fanfare and stuff. It takes a minute for it to like ramp up, but when it does,
Fredonia.
Yeah, Fredonia. And yeah, I guess the part that makes this, one of the things that contributes to the Recall Piece Theater equation, is that it's like this sort of like anti-war movie.
Yeah.
Very, very early, like an anti-war movie from the
33.
30s. Yeah, the 30s. And it's like, obviously it's sort of like referencing and riffing on like World War I, which is sort of, you know, in the past. But right before World War II starts,
right around the corner.
Yeah, you get this very like sort of skewed look at war and nationalism and you know, all these things.
The you do Groucho's joke. He's like where he's standing in place doing his leg. I was trying to mess around with that.
Well, I saw this movie when I was a kid. Like when I was a kid, again, like they would show this stuff on Channel 12, which was like the PBS channel. So it's like, oh, you know, this is high art. But they would show these movies, and like the part I remember the mirror scene.
The mirror scene,
which is still hilarious.
Classic.
I'm watching this in the 80s. When I was watching this in the 80s, it was like, you know, this movie was like 50 some years old, and I'm into it and cracking up. So
that's great. Like, do you do? They're like, I like when he comes around the corner from the bottom of the door.
Yeah, every step of it's hilarious. And then even like I'm even laughing when like Groucho is like, like when he's like doing his like, and then like. Like even that stuff is like the stuff that you're maybe not even supposed to be laughing. It's just like
so
set up
good.
is funny.
And also when they're doing that mirror scene, you don't realize how much alike they look.
Well, yeah, because they are all brothers. They are the Marx Brothers, and it's called the Marx Brothers. But as a kid watching it, I kind of buy that, like, okay, this guy's Italian, and this, you know, and Harper, like they seem, because they're clowned, like because they've created these clown personas for them, they seem so different. But yeah, and then it's like when they put on the glasses and the grease paint mustache, all of a sudden they really do
identical.
Look like, you know, and identical. But then they're different. Like their different personalities do come through. It kind of like amplifies their differences too, to see them wearing the identical costume, because like Harpo's kind of like sweetness and silliness and really comes through. And it's kind of like for most of that mirror thing, we're sort of seeing the back of Groucho's head, but we're seeing the face of Harpo. And that was a smart move because it's extra funny.
Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
I'm like, am I looking?
It's very funny seeing Harpo's, like, because there's just that little bit of like silliness and sweetness that kind of is, you know, his signature.
Chico comes out at the end.
Yeah,
of
and
that
his
scene.
his body language, like everything leading up to that is so great, and where like the radio starts going off and he's smashing it, and also they always pick like the right moments to undercrank when they undercrank and things like speed up for a moment. It is hilarious. Like when they're doing that dance and stuff, and the part where like Groucho spins around and then Harpo doesn't spin around, but he just does like the end of the spin around because like Groucho wouldn't be able to see it as he's spinning around. Just hilarious, just great stuff.
I think for Halloween,
Yeah, right.
we'll have to. I might like.
I was gonna say I think, we're always making fun of like Mickey Dolenz doing his Groucho and Gabe Kaplan doing his Groucho. I think it's spreading. I think I
caught it.
Yeah, it's like a werewolf or something or vampire. Like I think we're gonna turn into Grouchos because it is fun. Like Groucho, and again like Groucho. Like I know his life. I know the reality of Groucho, and I know that he was a miserable and profoundly depressed man. But you watch this, and he just seems like he's carefree. He's got the world on a string. It's like you wanna be that guy. And I guess like he probably wanted to be that guy. The guy he's pretending to be is who he wants to be. It's like that's the guy you want to be. Like I can see why Ellen Alda wanted to be that. Because I want to be that too.
I know. Like he
always have the right thing to say. Just be like ready with and always in control of every situation.
I need to have some Grouchoisms locked and loaded.
Right, ready to go.
Ready to go.
Like, and he was a very serious person in real life, and he was an intellectual, and he had intellectual pretensions, and he wanted to be regarded as an intellectual, and he felt like he wasn't, and like he really wanted it. But it's like he has that, but then he's also able to be silly, and it's just great. I remember a lot of these bits, and then I wasn't sure which Marx Brothers movie they were in, but they're like, this is loaded because it's also got like one of my favorites where it almost turns into like a Bugs Bunny cartoon where Harpo shows him his tattoo. He's like, "Where do you live?" And then he shows him a tattoo on his chest of a doghouse, and then Groucho says meow, and then like a dog comes out of the doghouse. So great.
And bits you'd see like in later movies too. Yeah. It cracks me up when
Yeah, see there he is doing that dance, and when Gabe Kaplan does that dance, it's like a little bit leaden. Yeah.
Doesn't have the feet of Groucho.
Yeah, hey Gabe Kaplan, you're no Groucho. It's like what else is it? Like he's not saying he is. It's like Groucho's this like legendary guy, and of course like nobody's Groucho. The way Dick Cavett would sometimes introduce him on the show would be, like only one person got to be Groucho, and here's the lucky guy, like somebody had to be Groucho, and here it was something along those lines.
He introduces Gabe Kaplan.
That would be. I wonder if Gabe Kaplan's ever been on Dick Cavett. That seems like a natural. Unless there's this this Groucho fan rivalry where it's like, I'm the heir to Groucho, not you. Like I'm Groucho's widow.
Groucho 2, like Gallagher 2.
Yeah.
I love when Harpo washes his feet in the lemonade.
Harpo's great. Yeah, Groucho is like Groucho does seem to like pull your attention. I mean, he is the prime minister or whatever of Fredonia, but like the other Marx Brothers are awesome too.
Yeah.
And pop goes the weasel.
Tom, I think I'm infected with the Groucho. Like it's spreading.
This world has too many Grouchos and not enough Harpos and Chicos and Zeppos.
It's like the Highlander. Yeah. You have to clip somebody's cigar. It's the quickening, the Grouchoing.
The other bit that I remember as a kid seeing was like the motorcycle and sidecar gag.
Oh, that gag! I just did a spit take and laugh. That fucking still gets me every time. Yeah. The sidecar takes off.
Yeah, and it's the rule of threes, because like the motorcycle comes by and then the motorcycle takes off without the sidecar, and he's like, "That was a quick trip. Oh, it's good to be back again."
3 beats,
and then it happens again a second time. The motorcycle takes off without the sidecar, and then the third time he's like, okay, I'm not, fool me twice, but you're not going to fool me 3 times. Here comes the Harpo driving the motorcycle. This. And so he makes him switch places, and then Harpo pulls away in the sidecar. Could not be more perfect. And then Groucho's reaction is great because he's in this like action pose, ready to take off in the motorcycle, and then he's like just stuck in that pose, and he's like, "This is the only way to travel." Just sitting there going nowhere. But this is like, you are looking at the basic DNA of comedy. You see like people like kind of growing out of this, like all these people who kind of, comedians whose persona is kind of grounded in this. And so you have like the obvious ones like Gabe Kaplan and stuff, and Mickey Dolenz. But there's also like Stan Lee. I feel like Stan Lee was tapping into a little bit of Groucho,
Yes.
With his like mustache and glasses, and his like kind of like, hey, I'm the funny older guy who's a little bit of a rapscallion, like even Mark Maron. It's kind of like he's kind of leaning into a Groucho too, and it's not just mustache and glasses. There's a little like
There's
a little
Groucho there.
like it's just part of the DNA of comedy. Oh, look at these masks!
Holy shit, that's awesome.
Harpo's the best. Like Harpo,
Wow,
they say like
good.
Harpo, like in a way, they are kind of like even though they're clowned. I don't think clowning works if you're not basing it on some kind of truth. And so Harpo was kind of like the sweet, like kind-hearted brother. Groucho was kind of like the professor, kind of like, and then Chico was like the ladies' man, the gambler, and so it kind of like makes sense that he'd refashion himself with this sort of like Italian persona,
Yeah, that's kind of like with gimmicks in wrestling.
Yeah.
They say for like the best gimmicks, you find something about
Something inside yourself
that's true and just amplify.
Yeah, and I think like it wouldn't have worked other, and that's why, like almost 100 years later, we're watching this movie and getting into it and cracking up and
sharing it with people.
Yeah.
The you know what? It reminds me too. Like, do you think Teller from Penn and Teller got
Penn and Teller,
a little bit of Harpo, like the silent performance?
Yeah. These are like vaudeville types, and a lot of these routines are sort of like vaudeville routines. But it's like not every vaudevillian, became the Marx Brothers. Like there's something
special.
You know who else is like kind of a descendant of Groucho? John Lennon. When John Lennon's in those Beatles movies, he's totally doing a Groucho. And again, he's not going like this or anything, but he's got like the sardonic Groucho, and he even
delivery.
The delivery, and just like the stance, and he even like he would say about the Beatles when they were doing their movies that it was kind of like the Marx Brothers. It was like that was the last time you had four guys doing comedy was the Marx Brothers. And John Lennon, he had like Groucho glasses. He had like the sort of round little glasses. He did grow a mustache. He did, he did kind of have the Groucho haircut for a little while before his hair got like super long. He did kind of have a little bit of a Groucho haircut.
When Gabe Kaplan and Dolenz meet,
the universe explodes.
Here we are. We are the princes of the universe.
Yeah, like Mark Maron, think about him, like he also has like because he is kind of professorial. He kind of sets himself up, like he was kind of like the intellectual comedian, like the comedian who's like versed in politics and stuff. And then and now he's like the serious interviewer, but then he's also seems, and I think he's even talked about this a little bit, profoundly depressed.
Yes. Yes.
So Duck Soup is on Prime. I have a VHS of Animal Crackers, which I was also watching, which is really good.
Is like the Casablanca? What is it? Night
in Casablanca. That's supposed to be like like a bad one. That's one of those ones where it's like, well, we could still watch it.
Oh, yeah.
I'll watch a bad Marx Brothers movie, but they said that was like one of the ones where it's like, we did it because Chico needed the money, But there's some bad ones, but like,
I think there's 13 of them.
There's 13. Okay, and it's like, and this one. The reputation was that this one was a bomb because this was like the end of like their contract with like whatever the studio was.
Like
this
Paramount.
They had a falling out, and so the reputation was that this one went way over budget because it does have like some pretty huge set pieces and a cast of thousands, and they said like this one, was like a bomb, and like what they said was like it did well. It was a hit. It was a success. Maybe not quite as much of a success as like Monkey Business or some of the ones that came before, but it was a big success, and it was just like sort of the end of their contract with this one studio, and then they went to another studio, and they kind of had like a personal falling out with like the head of the studio. I think Groucho kind of like antagonized them. Like, and some of this stuff was in the Gabe Kaplan, But this has become a classic, and obviously and it didn't take long for it to become a classic, and regarded as possibly their finest film.
Yeah, like the that mirror scene, it might be their most popular bit.
Yeah,
in the
like
films.
that was. I remember as a kid seeing that on Sesame Street, but on Sesame Street it would be Charlie Chaplin. It would be like two actresses dressed up as Charlie Chaplin. So I don't know if Charlie Chaplin did a mirror scene or it's like close enough. He's got a mustache. He's old. He's in black and white. Close enough. But
Tom, we got to cover all the Marx Brothers movies.
Yeah, why not? Like, again, I'm ready to make this the Groucho show. Groucho Tube. Change the name to Groucho Tube.
You're watching Groucho Vision.
Groucho Vision. The Groucho glasses slowly descend.
I'm infected, Tom. The only way to
we gotta make a movie. We gotta make a movie where it is like a vampire movie or like a werewolf movie where like somebody gets infected with like Groucho. They like turn into Grouchos.
You have to stab them with a silver cigar. Instead of Wolf's Bane, it's Groucho's Bane. It's these little plants with the Groucho glasses. Yeah. A cigar smoking plant. Even a man who is pure of heart and says his prayers by night, I become a Groucho when the Groucho Bane blooms and the autumn moon is bright. Oh, this is a great scene. That made me hungry for some popcorn. Yeah. They had
there's like that popcorn and Italian ice cart that's in the north side.
Yeah.
That
what a combo.
Should be opening back up pretty soon. And it's making me want to go there.
Definitely.
Because it's that exact kind of cart with like the big wheel on it.
Lemonade.
And here's like a circus strongman. He's got that hat. Say, what's the big idea? Yeah, it's just such an appealing archetype, and so like sort of baked in to just like popular culture. I have such a hard time remembering jokes, so I've been like taking notes lately, like just like when I hear a good joke, writing it down. And Jay Leno was on the Dana Carvey and David Spade podcast, and he was saying his favorite Rodney Dangerfield joke, and it was, I saw a club and the sign said, topless and bottomless. I went inside, there was nobody there. I lost, I'm writing that one down. That has become my favorite joke. Mark Maron had a good joke too. He's like, I went to the doctor, and he said, I got good news and bad news. Tell me the bad news first. You have 6 weeks to live. What's the good news? You see that receptionist out there? I'm fucking her.
It's like, I went to the doctor. He said, you got to quit masturbating. I said, why? He's like, so I can examine you.
That's a good one. These are Jackie the Joke Man jokes. These are good ones. That is, I'm writing that one down.
You're a good crowd, all right.
Hey, let me tell you, it ain't easy. It ain't easy. I saw a strip club. It had it said topless and bottomless. I went inside. There was nobody there. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. Dr. Vinny Gumbats. I tell you,
I went to the doctor.
I haven't been doing too good. I'm doing okay now, but it was rough. It's been a rough week.
It's been rough. I went to the doctor. He said, you got to stop masturbating. I said, why, doc? He said, so I can examine you.
I guess like we have to choose whether we want to become Grouchos or
Rodneys.
Oh, it ain't easy.
My dad asked me to sit on his lap. He
was getting the electric chair.
Why don't you two put your heads together and make an ass at yourself?
What's his name in this? Because he always has Rufus T.
Oh, Rufus T. Firefly.
Rufus T. Firefly. Yeah, that's what. There's.
Rob Zombie used that name in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Okay.
Rufus T. I think it's
Captain Spaulding is Animal Crackers.
Dude, Captain Spaulding is another character in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh, okay.
So like, they call the House of a Thousand Corpses and the other two flicks like the Firefly trilogy. So he's using like characters' names.
Yeah, Rufus D. Yeah, because I mean, Groucho had some of the great all-time names. You know, yeah, just those two: Rufus D. Firefly and Captain Spaulding. And then in like the comic Cerebus, he had there was a Groucho character in that who keeps popping up, who's sort of like this politician, and he's Lord Julius, which is Julius Marx.
Shit, like great
Groucho's
names.
real name. And again, anytime somebody would like reference Groucho, like when I was a kid growing up, like I mean, I love this stuff, but anytime somebody would do a Groucho, it would be such a turnoff. I'd be so, but it's like now it's like I want to do that too. I want to be like Hawkeye on MASH. I want to be like I want to do the corny Groucho stuff. It's great.
In school, high school, like when I did like the musicals, my director, Tim, he was an actor. He got to act with Jeff Goldblum. We were saying before. Remember in
Pittsburgh,
yeah. When he was doing the Music Man. But another thing he would do is
I'm Professor Harold Hill. While Professor Harold Hill's on hand, River City's gonna have a boys band. As sure as the Lord's making little green apples, that band is going to be in uniform. Johnny, Willie, Teddy, Fred. The shimmer of trumpets. Tum ta ta.
We got to cover Pittsburgh.
I saw Jeff Goldblum as Professor Harold Hill in the Music Man live in Pittsburgh. I saw that. Me and my wife saw. I saw like
Tim
when he was filming that Pittsburgh. Oh, so I saw your teacher.
He got to act.
Did he play Marcellus Washburn?
I can't remember. He got to have
like was he the Buddy Hackett character?
I think so.
That's a big role. Or was he? Was he Mayor Shin? Was he one of the Buffalo Bills, one of the barbershop quartet?
Dude, we got to cover Pittsburgh on this. Do an episode.
We'll do Pittsburgh. We also have to do the Music Man because I'm wearing my Professor Harold Hill jacket.
Hell yeah.
If they're looking to do a revival of the Music Man, I'm volunteering to play Professor Harold Hill.
Yeah.
I've got the whole musical memorized.
Tim would go down to, they would have like events down in Pittsburgh, and he would, and two other actors, they would be the Marx Brothers.
Okay.
At the event, they would just walk, it would be like this huge event, and you would have like the Marx Brothers at this event, like just going around like riffing. And,
riffing, yeah.
And that's like
insulting everybody. Dumping the punch bowl on people's heads.
I'm like washing my feet in it.
Well,
Wouldn't that be amazing? We should show up somewhere.
If we do that, we got to show up as the Sweat Hogs as the Marx Brothers. So it's like it's not Groucho, it's Gabe Kaplan, it's Gabe Cotter as Groucho, and it's not Chico, it's Epstein as Chico. But I noticed Epstein's like a fan of the whole Marx Brothers because he does like eventually Rorschach got like the Harpo role, but like Epstein is doing Harpo and Chico. Like he's got Harpo and Chico like in his soul already. It's just he can't play both at the same time, so they had to bring in Rorschach to be Harpo.
He's wearing the Chico hat with his paint-covered overalls.
Oh yeah, like Epstein is like if you melded Chico and Harpo together. He is kind of like, Professor Harold Hill's on hand. Mayor Shin, if I could indulge you for a moment, and I'm trying to start a boys' band in your town.
Tom, that's...
we need something to keep the kids away from the pool hall. I heard there was a pool table in town.
The Music Man.
Music Man is that's my favorite musical.
It could be a little piece theater.
We'll get out the instruments. We'll perform the entirety of the Music Man. This will be our follow-up to The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. We go from rock opera to musical theater.
Hell
We'll
yeah!
do the entirety of the Music Man. Again, it's got the added bonus of it being like an anti-war movie. That kind of elevates this one. And then after this one, they went over, I think, to MGM. And when they were talking to the head of MGM, I don't know, Mr. Goldwyn, Mr. Mayor, you know,
Lion.
Louis B. Mayer, the Lion, yeah, Mr. Metro. They were talking, and they were saying, like, he was saying, okay, the problem with the Marx Brothers is there isn't a woman on earth who likes the Marx Brothers. So we got to do something. Like, that was the studio, Louis B. Mayer or whoever. That was his note to the Marx Brothers. So we got to add some elements, because it's a sausage party. So we got to add some elements. So they add like a love story and this and that, and they end up with like 3 hits in a row. You know, and it's like Night at the Opera, Day at the Races. Day at the Races is like the other one that I watched the most when I was a kid and was like very into. And it's like a lot of like Marx Brothers aficionados kind of frown on those movies a little bit because they like the pure like zaniness of these early ones. But I mean, it is kind of a winning formula. The kind of like take the Marx Brothers, add a romantic subplot, and you got something. You got something for the whole family. You know? Yeah, this is the only way to travel. See, like when he says it, it's like I just hear echoes of Alan Alda saying it. You know, like getting in a helicopter or getting in a jeep at the 4077. This is the only way to travel.
Dude, we got to also cover Robert Altman's MASH.
Yeah, that's one of my all-time favorite movies. Yeah, I was a fan of the MASH TV show until I saw the movie. When I saw the movie, I'm like, this is the shit. That show's fucking corny. Like this is like I didn't realize that like you know I grew up on the show, but like the movie when I was an adult when I finally saw the movie. I'm like, this is a good fucking movie.
We got to do a full MASH episode.
Yes. Yeah, we'll do MASH week or something, and we'll do MASH the movie, and we'll do MASH the show. I got a lot to say about that.
Recall. It's like R.
Yeah. We're talking about Jeff Goldblum, and as far as I know, he's not in MASH, but he is one of the Robert Altman players.
Yeah.
You have Donald Sutherland plays Hawkeye in MASH the movie, and then he's in Invasion of the Body Snatchers with Jeff Goldblum. So we got a little bit of like 2 degrees of separation.
Also, at some point, I think we got to do Friday the 13th Part 6.
Okay.
Because does
Groucho show up in it?
It has a Welcome Back Kotter connection.
Yeah, you said that Horshack.
Horshack is in it, and also John Travolta's like nephew is one of the leads. So I think John Travolta has his like stink all over this movie.
Is his sister in it too? What's her name?
I can't remember.
Because she was in Grease. She was also on Joni Loves Chachi. She plays Chachi's mom in Joni Loves Chachi.
John Travolta's pulling some strings here. So I think he got his nephew in this, and he also pulled some strings for like that. It
is his nephew Chachi. Like how many
Gabe Kaplan.
Gabe Kaplan's in it.
He's like, listen, you got my cousin.
Yeah, my nephew's great, and you gotta give Horshack. You gotta give Ron Palillo a
little
job.
Taste. Wet his beak, all right. Yeah. It's the Kotter Jason connection.
We haven't gotten too deep into Welcome Back Kotter in our rewatch, but just like the era, I wonder if they ever did like a Star Wars spoof, because like they were that was like right in the middle of their run. Because I'm picturing Ron Palillo as C-3PO. It's too perfect.
It's way too perfect.
John Travolta as Luke Skywalker.
Epstein's an R2-D2.
Epstein as Han Solo.
Oh.
You know, but
Gabe Kaplan is Darth Vader.
Darth Kaplan.
You know the power of the dark side. Now the circle is complete. I am the master.
The cycle is complete. Yeah.
I am the master.
The student is now the master. The cycle is complete. The force is strong in this one. This technological terror you've constructed is nothing compared to the power of the force. So I don't know how caught up you are with the Quentin Tarantino Video Archives podcast, but they did an episode about a movie called Jet Benny, and it's super weird. It's like filmed on Super 8, and like they gave it like the highest possible recommendation, and I watched a little bit of it on YouTube. It is bizarre and compelling. It's like bizarre and compelling, and I can't say it's a good movie, but it's like I can't get it out of my mind a little bit, but it's like, and it's like, what were they thinking making this? And it's kind of like, it seems like the premise is almost like it's like the Jack Benny show, and like what if Jack Benny did a Star Wars skit on the Jack Benny show, and then this is the result, and like it's very bizarre. And I'm thinking, what if the Marx Brothers did a Star Wars spoof? Now again, like we have Spaceballs, but I'm thinking like, you know, just like Groucho, you know, in a role, and like I think that's the next Total Recall production, is to try to put together like a Marx Brothers Star Wars spoof with fake Marx Brothers, with Mickey Dolenz, Gabe. Get me a modern day Gabe Kaplan. Give me a modern day. Give me a modern day Ron Palillo. I keep forgetting Epstein's name. The actor who plays Epstein.
God,
I keep calling him Epstein. I don't remember his name. But like, yeah, give me a modern day Epstein. You've been watching the Duck Soup edition of Recall Piece Theater. I'm Tom Scioli, author of I Am Stan, a graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee. And in the show notes below, you'll find a pre-order link where you can pre-order that book. And at that same link, you can pre-order Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics in softcover.
I'm Matt Zeoli.
And please follow me on Twitter at Tom Scioli and on Instagram at Tom_Scioli.
Follow me on Instagram at cinema_tune.
And you can support my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Tom Scioli, and if you join up, you'll have access to the full archive as well as new comics and artwork as I post them.
Follow the show on Instagram at total_recall_show.
And we'll see you next time. We'll see you in Fredonia. Marx Brothers Star Wars. I mean, we're giving away gold here. Like, somebody's going to make that. You know, in the tradition of Jet Benny, it's...
He's like...
It's the Marx Brothers as Superman. The Marx Brothers as Star Wars.
There's like yabbing Rebel Base. Help me, Obi-Wan. Help me.
If you think about it, like, Groucho, I think, is like 43 in this. Like, I thought I was going to look it up and be sort of horrified by how young he is, but he's 43. Like, these guys were born in the 1800s, you know, so they're like, you know, they're pretty seasoned by the time they do this, but it's like they were, you know, they were concurrent with Flash Gordon serials. So, like, they could have easily done the Marx Brothers meet Flash Gordon or something. They could have done that. So that would have been their Star Wars.